welcome back to the Common Connected podcast. I'm your host, Janine Halloran, and today we are talking about more amazing open-ended toys. So I know maybe last year or the year before when I was recording for the podcast around the holidays, I definitely recorded an episode that was focused on open-ended toys because I think they're fantastic and it's a great way for kids to learn social skills and build emotional regulation as well. So I wanted to take a few moments today to share some more amazing open-ended toys that might be a good addition to your house, to your therapy room, to your counseling office. And I thought about ones that, my kids used to play with consistently, but I also thought about the ones that I tend to gravitate towards if I'm running a social skills group or if I'm in therapy sessions. What are the toys that I want to have? What are the toys that are super versatile? So I just go through 5 of my favorite, more amazing open-ended toys. So the first is a toy kitchen. Now I know that sounds kind of silly, but it's actually quite a versatile and flexible toy. So I have vivid memories of when my children were little and it was Christmas Eve and I was putting together this gigantic Christmas gift from my in-laws, their grandparents, and it was this amazing kitchen. And I remember sitting there and I thought, gosh, I hope that they play with this a lot. And they really did. They really, really did. It was one of their go-to toys for a very long time. We would keep it either in the living room or our actual kitchen. And they played with it in so many ways. So they played, pretending to cook dinner. They played restaurant. They played coffee shop. They would always actually warm up their coffee in the microwave in the kitchen because that's what I would always do. And they would actually take the cups out of the recycling bin, the cups that I used to use, and they would pretend to put it into the microwave, which I thought was hilarious at the time and I still think is really funny. But the thing is, it's so versatile and you can use it in so many different ways. I just listed a couple of different ways you can play with it, but there's other things that you can do there too. If kids want to start a coffee shop or if kids want to start they're cooking for, dog treats. There are so many things that you can do with a kitchen that I absolutely love it. And, I love the ones that sizzle too, because it just makes me so happy. The ones that, it can sizzle, it can make noises when you open things. And I appreciated that because it really gave them that sense that something was actually happening. And it made them actually more interested in cooking too. So I liked that part of it. So definitely look into a toy kitchen if you haven't done that. Something else I happened to see when I was just walking around Target is this thing called a Think Box. I'm not an affiliate or anything. I just happened to be in Target and I saw it. So I love this because it really speaks to the power of open-ended play. So I'll show you the box a little bit so you can get an idea of what's in here. So there's lots of different things, lots of different sort of ways that you can tinker, things that you can use to tinker with. But what I love about it is that they give you ideas of what to do, but there's no sort of set structure of you have to make these 3 things. Kids can look at it and decide what they want to make. They can be inspired by the things that are on the cover, or they can choose to make something else. So it's beautiful for open-ended play. It's almost like a tinker box that's ready-made for you to go. I know that some people sort of struggle with trying to figure out what should be in a tinker box, what should be in some open-ended invitations to create. Well, this is it for you. They've just made it for you. So I thought it was great. I actually bought it for my son for his birthday, which is why we have it. So I absolutely love that sort of open-ended creative play. Lots of parts, wires, clothespins, things that they can sort of open up and go where their imagination takes them. So I love that. Something else I love, they're called tubes. They are basically like tiny figures. So they have different sorts of themes. So we've had one that's like a fairy tale theme. We've had one that's an animal theme. Dinosaurs, dragons, little creatures, all sorts of cool, interesting little figures that you can put into sand trays, you can put into sensory bins, That's so cool to use when you are working in play therapy, sand therapy with kids, these different themes of things. So if you have a kid who really likes a particular theme, or there's something that you really want to address in therapy, and it can be addressed by getting this particular theme of something, or if you have a kid that's just really drawn to something, like kids who are really drawn to dragons, really drawn to dinosaurs. So I would have those in the sand tray to begin conversations, and to see what's going on for them and what happens in the play in the sand, so, or in the water beads or whatever. So I love tubes, so I would definitely check those out. I've gotten those at Michael's. I think they have them at Hobby Lobby. I've seen them a lot of different places, and I think they're also on Amazon. So I love tubes, just the different kinds of sort of creatures you can get that are plastic. I also like play tents and play forts. So I have this very vivid memory of going to visit a family, and they had gotten a play fort where you could build it yourself. And I remember crawling into the fort with a kid, and he's like, "You got in my fort. Isn't it so cool?" He was so excited to show me. And it was neat because he and his brother had created it together. And you could do lots of different, there's lots of kits out there, so you can set them up differently. There's actually, I saw one where it's just, they have like something to hold up the sheets. So you know how sheets always fall down when you make a fort? Well, these things, they have like, basically they have weighted things on them so the sheets don't fall. So kids can create over the table, over chairs, and the sheets stay in place, which is pretty cool because that's very frustrating for a child. But there's also ones where you can actually build the structure and put paper over it, or you can just get a tent. And lots of different activities and creative play can come out of just having a tent as well. So I love having that. The other reason why I love having a play tent or a play fort is because it can also sort of double as a calm down space, a peace corner, or how we like to refer to it at Coping Skills for Kids, our reset space. So it's a place where kids can sort of go in, they can settle down, try a few coping skills, and return. So even if you don't necessarily use it for play, you could also use it as a way to instill some coping strategies, practice coping strategies during the day, and put a coping skills toolbox in there as well. So it can be kind of versatile. You can play with it, but you can also introduce it as a way to incorporate that social emotional learning and calming down, and using strategies when they get to have big feelings and big emotions and big thoughts. So I love having play tents and play forts. And finally, the number one thing my children used to use when they were little is the recycling bin. No lie. They used to go into the recycling bin and just pull out cardboard, pull out tubes, pull out anything, and they would just start creating. We'd add in tape. Maybe we have felt, maybe we have glue, maybe we have the little fuzzy balls that we can add into there. Maybe we use clothespins, and we just figure out some different things to do. And, again, going back to that open-ended play, the power of open-ended play for creativity and curiosity and imagination. It's so cool to see what kids can make if you just let them do it. And I, again, have another memory that's related to cardboard, and it's related also to the Chicago Toy and Game Fair. So I've been a few times to Shy Tag, is what they call it. And I remember the first time I went, they had an entire cardboard city. So these kids were allowed to use all this cardboard, and they made tunnels and little castles and all these different places where they could hide. And their creativity was on display for everybody. So you could walk through their little town and their little city, what they created, and it was amazing. So I definitely would recommend these amazing open-ended toys for your practice or for your home to really encourage that creativity, that curiosity, and to spark imagination. If you like this podcast, please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And one more thing, don't forget about yourself. Take a little time, have some fun, and have an awesome day.